here tonight. Now, speaking of Austin Matthews, that takes...
Oh, yeah, Nylander and Matthews reuniting on the ice last night. Many Leafs fans are hoping for a little bit of a repeat. Well, more, but we'll take it beyond 1993 when they had an incredible run. The last good year, Damien Cox now from Sportsnet has written a book about it, opened up old wounds for me. Leafs and Kings going at it that season, and it was in the conference final. Thank you, Damien, for making me cry again.
Well, and you know, and every time someone says, "Oh, so you know, I'm going to read your book," I said, "I'm sorry about the ending. I really am." In fact, you know,
what happens?
Well, you know, spoiler alert, right? I actually had this idea when I was writing it that I would kind of write a dream sequence about how the Leafs actually won and how they won.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, the publisher said, "No, you're not doing that."
Right.
You use facts and things like that. But I do love in this, I mean, you break down the games, but you also break down everything that's going on behind the scenes. One of my favorite things was with Steve Stavros and Bruce McCall, the owners, and they were in turmoil.
Oh, man. Both those guys were, because they were trying to, well, Stavro was trying to gain control of the Leafs. McNall was trying to keep control of the Kings, and he was into, you know, up to his neck in debt. And while this was all, so while this series is going on the ice, there's all this stuff going on in the background. Yeah. So that sort of is why, you know, 25 years after, you can write a book and sort of knowing what we know now, what these guys seem to be doing and what they were actually doing. So that was a big part of the story. You see Bruce McNall there. He's still living in L.A. He went to prison and then came back out, wrote his own book, and you go down there and talk to him, and he's still the same charming, friendly guy he was back then. And you remember he also owned the Toronto Argonauts at the time. So he was a big man in Toronto. And Steve Stavro, of course, was a famous guy here, too. So they were two prominent businessmen who kind of ran into trouble by getting associated with NHL teams.
Right, but you get all these behind-the-scenes stories, what the nurses were saying about the players. Wow. All the secrets have come out, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, you know, people are more free to talk about these things after the fact, right?
Of course.
Years later, they can say, yeah, this happened, whatever. And so I think that's what usually makes these kinds of books a little bit better, is that, you know, people don't feel constrained by telling a little bit, talking out of school a little bit.
Yeah.
But, and it was, I mean, that was one of the defining moments for Leafs fans in the last 50 years, without a doubt. And that series, probably one of the best series I've ever played, and it broke everybody's hearts. Was there a highlight from any?
It's not my fault, by the way. You seem to be blaming me for
No,
this.
I'm not blaming you.
I was just watching like everyone else.
I talked to my therapist, and he said, don't blame Damien, whatever you do.
I seriously know somebody who will not buy, to this day, will not buy Wayne Gretzky wine. Because of that series.
No way.
Sorry about that, Wayne. I know you're trying to sell it all, but it's true.
Let's talk about today.
Yeah. Do the Leafs have a chance?
Here we go.
The same thing happening again? Everybody wants to know. I think they have a chance, sure. But the league is so different than it was then in that it's so closely packed. If you ask me right now, who's the Stanley Cup favorite, I'd name 10 teams.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of talent, and they can score goals, and they have good coaching, and the organization's so much better now than it was 25, 40 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that helps too. But like I say, you know, there's a bunch of teams. You need to be healthy, all those sorts of things. But getting another player back, William Nylander, although he got benched in the third period and they lost last night, getting him back will help. And, you know, this is a team that I think has suffered through some tough losses in the playoffs the last couple of years and maybe has learned from it.
Nylander, is he going to stay, or are they going to use him for trade?
Well, where do you want him to go?
I don't want him to go.
They just got him back.
I just want to. I know, but that's a big rumor because when the trade cap comes around, they're going to be stuck.
Yeah.
Did they sign him just to get him?
So this year they're fine. Yeah. This year is not a concern. So, and that's what people say. Well, what's going to mean next year, the year after? All it really matters in the National Hockey League is where are you today, where are you this season? They're fine for this season. They've got other players they're going to have to sign after this. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. They'll have to worry about that starting this summer. Right now, you put your best team together and go try to win the Stanley Cup.
So in 25 years, you're going to be writing about this team winning the Stanley Cup.
We'll be sitting right
It'll be the next
back here.
Point,
You'll be wearing those great socks again.
They're happy flower socks.
They're
wishing
lovely.
for nothing but happiness. Parades of
He was
rose
hoping
petals
they'd
down.
be the hockey puck socks is what he was hoping for.
Hockey? Oh, what? I got to find some hockey pucks.
You do?
So I'll meet you guys right here.
Deal.
There
We'll
we
do it
go.
again.
And we'll go for the Stanley Cup
25
parade.
years.
All right, sounds
David,
like
thank you very much for
Okay.
coming in with that book. We love it. And it's a great read if you're a Leaf fan and a hockey fan. It's a great read. The last good year on sale now. Leafs are back in action, of course, on Saturday. Let's head upstairs. Or upstairs. Stella's not upstairs. Stella's. Are you changing tires now, Stella?